Good evening, Lion fans, and welcome once again to T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium for tonight's game against perennial powerhouse Chapel Hill. The Bulldogs come in ranked number 2 or number 3 in the state's 4A rankings, depending upon which poll you look at. In 2 games so far this season versus quality teams, they have put up 121 points. I'm Bob Muty, and my colleagues, as usual tonight, are Matthew Middleton on technical production and Baseball Bentley Love doing color. Baseball Bentley tonight.
Well, you know, Bob, tonight's definitely going to be a tough game for the Lions, like you mentioned a little bit, talking about how good the Chapel Hill team is. But we saw some pretty good things from the Lions last week against Frisco Liberty, so I think it'll be an interesting game. It's gonna, like I said, it's going to be a tough one, but I sure am looking forward to see what the Lions have for them tonight.
Well, let's hope they can hang in there. The Lions are coming off an impressive performance versus Frisco Liberty, winning 35-2 behind quarterback Anthony Johnson, who threw for 3 touchdowns and rushed for a 4th. Bentley, I bet he'll be looking for Jet Fifield and Dadrian Payton again tonight.
Yeah, well, and you know, like you said, Liberty didn't have much of an answer for those 3 guys. So hopefully they'll be able to get something going early and often against the Chapel Hill boys tonight. So it'll be interesting to see.
At the Lion Dads meeting this morning, by the way, that's where the Lions are fed a wonderful breakfast courtesy of some generous men in the community. Kyler Patman, an NFL veteran who spent a few years with the Cowboys, spoke about the mental preparation players need to make before a game. And this fit perfectly with the message that Coach Randy Jackson is preaching to his players. Let's just keep on getting better. All the players now wear red Greenville Lion ties to the meeting and the pep rally to get with their individual dad, quote unquote, as a way to be mentored along their life journey. I encourage all men in our community to come out every game day at 7:30 a.m. in the weight room in the field house and hook up with a young man who just might need a father figure. Bentley, you're a bit young, but I know you'd enjoy being around some of your friends.
Yeah, it would be fun, and like you said, it's great what they've got going on over there because we really need a lot of that in today's day and age. So it's good that Jackson's got something going like that for those boys.
I think it's a wonderful program. Real quickly, and not to focus on Chapel Hill, they are led by junior quarterback Demetrius Brisbane, who has thrown for 4 touchdowns and run for 5 more, averaging 169 yards on the ground. And junior running back Ricky Stewart also with 5 rushing touchdowns and 450 yards in just 2 games. Bentley, these guys are quick, fast, and shifty.
Shut up, Kevin.
Yeah, and you know, quick, fast, and shifty, man. That is a recipe for a good ball club for sure. And hopefully we're gonna see the Lions get some of their own quick, shifty, and fast going on tonight. So it'll be interesting, and hopefully we'll see something go pretty well pretty early.
That was a cameo appearance by Danny Black, the press box manager, who was a former player here in Greenville. In fact, a heck of a player. But we'll take a break right now and be back with the lineups and the national anthem after a message from GEUS.
Conserving energy is important to us here at GEUS. We even pay rebates when you buy energy-efficient appliances. Your conservation helps all GEUS customers. In the future, we will need to build new electric generators, and this can be expensive. And with our population growing, we will need that power. That's why we give rebates for Energy Star appliances. So think about replacing your bulbs with super efficient LED bulbs or adding insulation to your attic. Together, we can help all GEUS customers by doing our part. Check out our rebates online, and remember, GEUS is always ready to serve and assist you in any way we can.
New, better, fast. The same excellent reliability and hometown service you've always counted on, now with faster speeds. Whether it is streaming, gaming, surfing the web, or working from home, GEUS is connecting you to the world. Sign up today at GEUS.org or by calling 903-457-2800.
Bob Mutey and Bentley Love back here with Matthew Middleton behind the camera for tonight's game between Greenville and Chapel Hill. The starting lineups, the best we know it, for Greenville. We're going to start with the defense, Bentley.
So tonight for the Lions, making up the front three on defense is going to be number 45, junior, Cody Waldrop playing left end. Sophomore, number 70, Mario Valentine playing nose tackle. Senior, number 59, Khalil Parker playing right end. And then in the linebacker positions, we've got senior, number 28, Ruben Enriquez, a man in the outside linebacker position. Senior, number 33, Jonathan Sampson playing middle linebacker. Junior, number 23, Jaden Johnson, playing outside linebacker. And then making up the line secondary tonight is junior, number 8, Daniel Renner, sophomore, number 18, Jamorion Hamilton, junior, number 20, Jaden Gibson, and junior, number 19, Reagan Goggins, and junior, number 3, Aiden Lewis.
Bentley, we got to give the defensive guys, the props tonight. First introduction. Because they limited Liberty to 0 points. The only points Liberty scored last week was on a safety, and 35-2 was a pretty good performance by the Lions last week. Offensively, as we talked about, quarterback position, the leader for Greenville is number 13, senior Anthony Johnson, 6'3", 220 pounds. A really big guy. Coach Jackson was asking Kyler Patman this morning how many college quarterbacks were as big as Anthony. He said not too many. Running back tonight will be senior Greg Washington. He wears number 25 on his back. The receivers are going to be senior Jet Fifield. He's probably going to be wearing number 12. He's 6'4", 210. And on the other side, Dadrian Payton will wear number 10. Both guys had a big week last week against Liberty. In the slot will be number 4, Isaiah Williams. The guys up front, left to right, are going to be Isaiah Wells. Isaiah is 6'1" and weighs 275 pounds. Next to him is Victor Orsornio. He comes in at 6'3", 320, and he's a junior. The center is junior Nick Just, 6'1", 215. Right guard is Braden Mapps. Braden comes in and wears number 54, comes in at 6 feet, 300 pounds. And at right tackle, it's going to be either Xander Gonzalez, 5'9", 270 senior, or Julian Sixtos, a 6'5", 270-pound sophomore. So that rounds out the team's starting lineups for Greenville. We've already talked a little bit about the Bulldogs, but let's talk about this powerhouse Greenville offense.
Yeah, well, and we got a pretty big sampling of that last week, like we were talking about a little bit with the Lions just kind of going all over the field, and Anthony Johnson, like you said, was a big part of that. And I really do think the key to tonight's game is going to be hopefully establish the running game early, so that way it can open up that Johnson to Fifield connection later on, and because we know that it's going to be a tough game for the Lions, but the Bulldogs, they've given up quite a few points this season. They've scored more, but they've given up quite a few. So if the Lions can just keep scoring, they'll probably do all right.
Maybe they just want to get the ball back quicker.
That could be it too.
No, I think you got a good point there. In fact, the point about running first to set up the deep pass is exactly what Coach Jackson told me this morning in our discussion. They just, clearly they have the strength of the long passing game because of the arm of Johnson and the speed of Payton and Fifield. All of those guys are really good athletes, but establishing that running game with Washington and with the Johnson a little bit, and then maybe the jet sweep, bringing Isaiah Williams around, trying to get him loose wide, get some speed working. That's what they really need to do they're going to have a chance tonight against this team.
Yeah, well, and we saw it a little bit last week. Like you mentioned, both those boys, Peyton and Fifield, they both have some good speed, but Fifield can go up and get the ball too if he needs to. And being 6'4", he's already got a height advantage on some of these guys, so it'll be good to see, and hopefully we see him connect early and connect often.
Just thinking about our district opener next week against Denison. We'll be up in Denison to take on the Yellow Jackets, a traditionally powerhouse team. Our district is incredibly hard, Bentley. Here's a for instance for you fans out there. Melissa is ranked number 1 in the state in Division 5A, Division 2. Lovejoy is ranked 3rd in the state. Terrell is ranked 10th in the state. Lake Dallas, who's not in our district but who we played first game of the season, is ranked 14th. Crandall's ranked 24th. Denison's ranked 26th. So you've got really powerful teams in District 7-5A, Division 2. And that's what Greenville's going to be facing with a coach they've had for less than 4 weeks.
Yeah, and but they say the toughest are formed in the faces of adversity. So playing against big competition like that, it's going to be tough for them, but it'll only make them better in the long run.
I agree with you 100%. I think Coach Jackson has a pretty good idea what to expect tonight. And as I said earlier off camera, he's not expecting a win tonight. What he's hoping for is improvement. And he's telling his kids, win the next play. Look at that guy across the line of scrimmage from you and beat him on the next play. And if you beat him enough times, you got that mental picture. You're visualizing him. This is what Kyler Patton was talking about. You visualize, okay? And then you execute. And I'll tell you what, if the Lions got the message, we may have a surprise tonight.
Yeah, well, and this Bulldog team, they're a 4A team, but 4A versus 5A, that doesn't really mean anything when it comes to something like this because those boys can flat out play. And so if the Lions, if they can win play after play after play against a team of this caliber, that's going to do nothing but build confidence for them.
Exactly.
And, that's a saying I think I've heard plenty of times. Confidence really is key.
I don't think there's any question about it. But keep in mind, Division 4A, Division 1 is not a whole lot different enrollment-wise than Division 5A, Division 2.
That's true.
So it'd be interesting to know exactly what the enrollment is for the two schools. But we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back as the teams are approaching the field. It is, what do we got? What are the elementary schools tonight? Lamar and Crockett?
Yes, sir.
They'll be coming through the run-through. Looks like they're going to come through before the teams, maybe. But anyway, we'll be back with the national anthem and the run-through after this word from GEUS.
Greenville became the first municipally owned public power electric utility in Texas in 1891, when privately owned companies were only interested in serving large cities such as Dallas and Fort Worth. Greenville citizens took destiny into their own hands and began producing their own power. Today, more than 130 years later, GEUS continues to provide this vital service to our community. Public power has a long history nationwide of supplying electricity to communities when investor-owned utilities wouldn't or couldn't provide this crucial service. The nation's 2,000-plus community-owned utilities currently supply power to millions of people in 49 states and 5 U.S. territories. The communities range in size from being very small to the largest public power system, which is owned by citizens of Los Angeles, California. San Antonio is the second largest city in the U.S. receiving public power. Municipally owned public power utilities answer directly to their customers.
Bob Muni and Bentley Love back here in T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. Baseball Bentley is in good voice tonight, folks. We are waiting for the arrival of the teams. The the Bulldogs are already in the north end zone, getting ready to go through their run through, which says #We got dogs.
Yeah, and that's a pretty interesting slogan there, but I guess it makes sense considering they're the Bulldogs. So
I saw something on the I think it was the veterinary clinic on 34 coming in. It says, "Hot dogs in cars are no good. Hot dogs in buns are fine."
yeah, and that vet clinic, I drive past it every day, and it seems like they've always got something funny on that marquee up there.
Yeah, good slogans, no question about it. Referees are coming onto the field now. We see Coach Jackson up. He's approaching. Looks like he's gone over to talk to Coach Jeff Reardon before the start of the game. Not sure what that's about. But we are anticipating a track meet tonight, Bentley. These guys from Chapel Hill, which is down in Tyler, are extremely fast.
Yeah. And here come your Greenville Lions right out of the tunnel and looking ready for tonight.
Lions are dressed in red helmets, red and black jerseys, and black pants. The Bulldogs are going to be dressed in white with blue pants and blue helmets. And there are the kids from Lamar and Crockett, and there's a bunch of them out there. They drew a big crowd tonight.
They did, and it's always cool to see those kids show out and get ready for this game with the boys.
It's one of the good programs that we have here in Greenville, where the elementary kids get a chance to be down on the field. And, of course, some of those boys are going to be football players someday, and some of those girls might be cheerleaders or flashes or in band. So, all right. So we've got a lot of excitement. Now, there's a nice sight right there. There's a gal in a wheelchair being pushed by probably a teacher, if I had to guess. And that's a real human interest story right there. That person is really getting a special treat tonight.
Well, and you talk about that. The Lion Pride Band actually has a girl marching in the band in a wheelchair this year. And I don't know that they've had that very many times, but she sure does get after it out there. Doesn't let it hold her back.
All right, the Naval Junior ROTC cadets are at midfield, and we're about to have the national anthem. All right, folks, are you ready for some football? We up here in the booth, we're certainly ready. We'll have the coin toss here in just a minute. We'll identify the captains for you. It looks like Edwin Garcia, number 9, Caleb Hale, number 2, and number 16, that's Caleb Yost. Yost has been injured, so this is his first opportunity to put the pads on, Bentley.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do out there between the stripes. Yost, he's got some pretty good potential standing at 6 foot even, 185-pound junior. It's going to be good to see.
And Reagan Goggins, number 7, joins the captains at midfield. Yeah, typically in the defensive backfield for Greenville, the guys aren't very tall. So Yost at 6 feet could make a big difference, particularly I understand there's a 6'6" receiver playing for Tyler tonight. I don't know whether it's Cameron Kelly or Jaden Mayfield, but both of those guys have got some big numbers already this year.
Yeah, well, and when you go against a guy that big, every inch counts.
No question about it. 5 captains for the Bulldogs, and it looks like, well, the captains are shaking hands. I didn't get which way we're going to go, but we'll have that for you in just a moment.
And here at TA Cotton Ford Stadium, it is 7:33. We're just about to kick off, and it is 92 degrees, which I don't know if y'all remember the temperature before the last 2 games, but let me just tell you, it's a lot cooler. So hopefully it'll continue to get cooler in the future. But I sure am looking forward to it.
And maybe.
Yeah, and we need the rain. Lord knows that.
Okay, we got a really strong wind going out in the south. As I was walking from the car to the elevator, I swear I was almost going to blow away. So it's interesting that it's cooled off, but the wind is from the south.
Yeah.
Looks like the Lions are going to be receiving to start the game. They'll be moving from our left to our right, so they'll be moving. And I called that wrong. They're going to be kicking off. And they'll have the wind in their face. So Reagan Goggins is going to have a real chore kicking into what I would call about a 20-mile-an-hour wind. So number 7 approaches the ball. Deep men are standing right at the 20. It's a short kick. It's coming down at the 25. It's taken there. And he's got plenty of room up to about the 44-yard line.
And there is a flag on the play, so we'll see what happens with that. That looked like number 10, Quentin Greenley, for the Bulldogs there on that return, but let's see if it might come back.
Well, Greenley made a good run at it, and it is a holding call against the Bulldogs, so that'll move them back 10 yards. So the Bulldogs will start this drive at their own 29-yard line, 1st and 10. Demetrius Brisbane wears number 3 as a junior quarterback, and he's pretty special. I watched him on tape, and when he gets into the open field, he is really shifty. 1st and 10 Bulldogs. Hands to Stewart. Stewart around the right side has lots of room. Down the far side, he's loose. Goggins can't get to him, and Stewart's going to go all the way for a 71-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and that was just a real clean, crisp play by the Bulldogs there, and I think every single man on that Bulldog offensive line hit their block, and that's what you got to do to pull a play off like that.
Yeah, he could have driven a tractor trailer through that hole around the right side, so you got that one right on the money, Bentley. Those guys in white and blue did exactly what they were trained to do, and lining up for the kickoff, or the extra point, is number 32, and the kick is up, and it's good. That's Aiden Campos, who's filling in for the injured Alvaro Mendez. So a quick score, we have 11:41, so in 19 seconds, despite the holding penalty on the kickoff return, the Bulldogs strike first.
Yeah, and I think as the game goes on, that'll be something that the Lions learn a little bit more about, and they'll figure out which side they're going to run to more and be able to jump it off and cut it off a little bit earlier than that on the feature plays.
Well, in the first 2 games, as we said, Stewart's had 451 yards. Now he's got 71 already. So he's probably well on the way to getting to that average before the night's over.
Yeah.
But we told you about the speed. But it was more than speed there. It was execution by the guys up front.
Yeah, no doubt. He could not have pulled that run off without some excellent blocking from his offensive lineman. And he's patting him on the shoulders on the sideline right now.
Here's Campos' kick. It's a short kick. Fair catch called for. Probably could have gotten a little yardage if he'd, tried. That was Washington. So a little bit surprising there that Greg didn't take an opportunity to run that one up.
Yeah, typically he jumps at that opportunity.
You know, though, it could be that a fair catch, let's see where they spot this. A fair catch is always spotted at the 25-yard line, I believe.
I believe you're right.
I believe. I saw that in the pro game last night, some kind of a arrangement like that. Okay, Anthony Johnson with a red towel on his right hip. Takes a snap. Hands to Washington up the middle. Greg has about 3 or 4 yards before running into a bunch of white-shirted Bulldogs.
Yeah, but it looked like his offensive line kind of came to his aid and pushed him forward for an extra few yards, getting them all the way up to the 30 on that play.
Yeah, we'll call it 2nd and 5, and Greenville's quickly to the line of scrimmage. Johnson finds a receiver. I think that's Williams out in the slot, and it looks like Williams has a first down.
And no doubt the Lions sure are moving that ball quick and getting to the ball fast.
Up-tempo offense for the Lions. Shotgun formation. Handoff once again to Washington. Washington getting good yardage, pretty close to 7 yards, straight up the middle. Understand Greg's dad told him to run between the tackles.
Yeah, and so far it looks to be working for him.
2nd and 3, quickly to the line of scrimmage. In motion is a receiver on the far side. I think that's Peyton over there. Got a little anxious to get into his route. So that'll set the Lions back 5 yards. We'll call it 2nd down now and a long 8 yards. Nathan Michelle at the H-back. Handoff to Washington. Washington once again behind Michelle. Not quite as much that time, Bentley.
Yeah, but he just about almost got that penalty right back there.
3rd down, we'll call it 6 yards to go. 10:27, clock moving. Teams moving quickly. Johnson looks right. Now he's scrambling to his left. He's being pursued. The boy was trying to pass and he fumbled the ball. I think that's going to be recalled a fumble. And if so, it's been recovered by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that looked like they recovered it right at about the 37-yard line or so. So that's going to give them a pretty good field position to start their second drive tonight. But overall, the Lions have had a pretty good defense so far this season. So hopefully they'll fare a little bit better this drive than they did on the first drive.
Well, Johnson was rolling to his left, and when you're right-handed, it's difficult. You got to turn your body and try to throw the ball. And there was pursuit, and as he got the thing wound up, he was hit. So it's a difficult fumble on Johnson's part. Man in motion. Lots of room. Still coming on the near side. Down to the 10-5 and into the end zone. For a touchdown goes number 7, Darius Dean.
Yeah, and that looked like about the same. Oh, but there's a couple flags on the field, so that might be coming back. We're going to see here in just a second what the official call is from the refs.
Dean is a senior wide receiver, also plays a little bit of defense, but penalty is going to go against the Bulldogs. Going to be a spot foul. So the ball is going to be spotted now at the 33-yard line of the Lions. First down, we'll call it 6. Brisbane in the shotgun formation. Fakes to Stewart. Gives to the wide receiver, going right. Still loose and pushed out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. Boy, they're just putting up some yardage in a hurry.
Yeah, they are, and that was number 20, Jaden Gibson on the play there and running him down. And it's going to be, looks like there's another penalty on the play.
Well, that was Dillian Johnson on the carry. Johnson's also a senior wide receiver. And the Bulldogs are hurting themselves with penalties on this drive. They're using the wide attack. They're hitting the defensive ends of Greenville, so the Lions are going to have to force those runners back into some helpful tackles.
Yeah, well, and that foul or penalty there on the play pushes them, looks like right back to where they were, the 33-yard line, for what looks like a replay of first down. So didn't gain any, but didn't lose any on that play either.
Yeah, those spot fouls, that's the way it works. So that was a downfield call on the holding. So 1st and 6 for the Bulldogs. Brisbane's going to throw. He's looking downfield. He has a man, and it might be interference there. Late flag coming out of the referees. The defensive back had he was about a step behind, and he just ran into the receiver, who had to slow down for Brisbane's pass, and that might be our 6'6" guy.
Yeah, he's definitely pretty tall over there on that far sideline. And when you're going up against somebody with that much height, you do just about whatever you need to stop them, and sometimes it turns into a penalty there and it can hurt you.
Yeah, that is Cameron Kelly. So he's a long drink of water for sure. Okay, it's a 1st down for the Bulldogs at the 18-yard line. Quick pass to Stewart. Stewart jogging, and it's brought down after about a 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, and that was number 9, Edwin Garcia, and number 16, Caleb Yost on the play there. So seeing Yost make a big difference here in his first game of the season for the Lions.
2nd and 6. Brisbane looking right. Has a man in the corner of the end zone. It is caught, but he didn't get a foot down.
And that was some excellent coverage there by number 3, Aiden Lewis, who is 5'11" junior. So he is about 7 inches shorter than that guy he was covering, but it didn't really matter on that.
He's got a tough assignment. I almost thought that Kelly got a foot down there, but the referee says no. So it'll be 3rd down and 6. Brisbane fakes to Stewart, keeps it. In fact, that is Stewart who took the snap, and he went up the middle for a Bulldog touchdown.
Yeah, and he took off, and he was just hard to stop a bit. He drove what looked like to be 3 lines into the end zone with him. And that one right there, he sure can pull.
So that's a little razzle-dazzle on the part of the Bulldogs as they snap it directly to the running back. Now Campos with the extra point attempt. Campos got a good leg, and he kicks it up and through. It's going to make it Bulldogs 14, Lions 0. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Greenville became the first municipally owned public power electric utility in Texas in 1891, when privately owned companies were only interested in serving large cities such as Dallas and Fort Worth. Greenville citizens took destiny into their own hands and began producing their own power. Today, more than 130 years later, GEUS continues to provide this vital service to our community. Public power has a long history nationwide of supplying electricity to communities when investor-owned utilities wouldn't or couldn't provide this crucial service. The nation's 2,000-plus community-owned utilities currently supply power to millions of people in 49 states and 5 U.S. territories. The communities range in size from being very small to the largest public power system, which is owned by citizens of Los Angeles, California. San Antonio is the second largest city in the U.S.
All right, Bulldogs ready to kick off. Campos lining up. Looks like we got Peyton. And there's an onside kick, and it goes out of bounds. So that'll be a 5-yard penalty for illegal procedure on the kicker. Or they can take it where it went out, which would be at about the 38-yard line maybe of the Lions. Let's see what the decision is by Coach Jackson. And he's been given the option by the official, and he's going to take it where the kick went out of bounds. Bulldogs already lined up in the defensive position, expecting that was going to be the decision that Coach Jackson made. 9:15 remaining here in the first quarter. Lions trail by 2 touchdowns. Ball is actually going to be spotted at the... Well, no. Maybe they're going to... Well, I don't quite understand. But the referees just marched the ball down to the Greenville 48-yard line. So that's pretty darn good, Bentley. Goodness gracious. Okay, 1st and 10 for the Lions. 2 receivers on each side. Anthony Johnson in the shotgun formation with Greg Washington at his left. Hands to Washington, who has a little room off left tackle. And then he's swarmed after about just a yard gain. The Bulldog defense is big, and they're quick. Pablo Martinez mans the right defensive tackle, and he was in on that play. Second, we'll call it 9. Johnson backs away now, looks to the sideline. Michelle and Fifield split right. Looks like there might have been an offside. A quick pass. Couldn't handle it that time. I think that was Michelle on the possible reception. So it'll be third down. Of course, after the penalty, a 5-yard penalty for offsides, Bulldogs are giving us a break with some of these penalties. Bentley's getting some technical help with his microphone, so it's all left up to me right now. Baseball Bentley is not in the building right now. Johnson, under pressure, just lets it go out of bounds. So the defense by the Bulldogs, huge pressure on quarterback Anthony Johnson. It might have been an issue with the Lions that time. May have called illegal or grounding, intentional grounding. So that's going to move the ball back to the 43-yard line. It'll be third down. We'll call it 15 to go. 8:29 remaining here in the first quarter. 14-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. Michelle on the H-back. Johnson and Washington. Hand off to Washington, up the middle. Good yardage initially, and he pushes forward up to the original line of scrimmage. I'm seeing a lot of laundry on the officiating crew, so either they're flag happy or the guys are making some mistakes. Looks like we've got a timeout on the field. Not exactly sure. Huge penalty against the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. It marched the ball down to the Chapel Hill 38-yard line. It'll be a first down for Greenville. Bentley, did you see what happened?
I didn't. I was sitting here watching, and then all of a sudden they threw a flag, and now they're 20 yards ahead.
Johnson to Washington. Washington a couple of yards. Nice run, pushing men backwards. He gets down to the 35-yard line for a 3-yard pickup. Greg Washington running hard for the Greenville Lions. We'll know exactly how hard. Statistics from David Claiborne, the sports editor of the Greenville Herald Banner. Play clock down to 17 this time. 2nd and 7. Again, it looked like it might have been offsides. But I'll tell you what, that guy timed that beautifully. Yeah, Washington had no time. Ball. Brooks. Play even though he's got fourth down at the 38-yard line of the Edwin Garcia in for a punt. And remember, Garcia, who was booming them with the wind before the game, is kicking into the wind now. Good snap. Garcia gets the kickoff. It is a high kick. It's going to bound at about the, and it almost died at the 1 yard line, but almost doesn't count unless you're playing horseshoes and pitching pennies.
And it looked like number 18, Dorian Hamilton, almost got there for the unfortunately.
So Garcia only gets credit for an 18-yard punt, and really, that was a pretty good play on his part. I was surprised that it bounced as far as it did. Come the Lions onto the field now defensively. Sophomore Mario Valentine is the nose guard. Happens to be one of the guys that's one of my players that I get to be the dad to. Brisbane fakes, rolls to right, finds his man over the middle. Hog tie.
Yeah, and it looked like that was number 8.
I believe that's the first time tonight, but look for him to make several more big plays this evening.
That was Blaylock on the reception. First down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Hand off to Stewart. Stewart this time is corralled after about a 6-yard pickup. Kind of got a hold of that guy.
Yeah, and it's good to see him do that.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Both these teams are up. 2nd and 4 yards to go for Chapel Hill. Jet sweep. Coming to the left and picking up a first down and into Greenville territory. That was number 14, Jonah Reardon.
Yeah, and that was number 33, Jonathan Sampson, on the tackle there. And we've seen Sampson make several good plays this season, and that was just the first of hopefully many tonight.
I wonder if Reardon is son of the head coach. He's split to the right. Brisbane drops straight back, has good protection, looking deep, has a man. It's Kelly. Kelly just can't get it. Brisbane underthrew it once again.
Yeah, and that was some excellent coverage out there on the far side by, I can't quite tell who that is. I think it's number 8, Daniel Renner again. And like I said a while ago, we're going to be calling his name several times tonight. So it's good to see him getting involved early.
Yeah, they're trying to switch around with Kelly. He is a long drink of water for sure. Fake to Stewart. Brisbane now in a little bit of trouble. Breaks one tackle. Can't break the second one. He's brought down after about a 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, and that was number 33, Jonathan Sampson, that really got him down, but he had a little bit of help from 16, Caleb Yost there. So Yost already making a pretty good difference in his first game of the season.
It's good to see some of these guys that have been on the injured list get an opportunity to play tonight. And Yost is, like you said, making a contribution. So the Bulldogs, first time tonight, are faced with a 3rd and long. Brisbane gives to Stewart. Stewart breaks a tackle, but he is stopped before he gets to the sticks. So what a defensive stand by the Lions this time around.
Yeah, and that's what we got to have. We got to have quite a few of those. So it was number 16 again. Yost had him by the ankles on that one, but it was really a big team effort by a whole pride of Lions to get him down.
Yeah, I think big Khalil Parker, all-district performer from last season, was in on that too. Bulldogs are going to go for it on 4th down with 4 yards to go. Demetrius Brisbane. Actually, it was Stewart handing to Brisbane, and Brisbane's going down the right side. He's at the far side. He's loose down the far sideline, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. Once again, they snap it directly to Stewart, the running back, and he hands it to Brisbane.
Yeah, and, I think the big thing about that is just try and keep the Lions on their toes. And so far it's working for the Bulldogs, but I still have faith that as we go into the game, they're going to figure it out. But it looks like there's a flag on the play, and that's going to be a spot foul and bring them back to the 32-yard line there.
I can't imagine that Coach Reardon is real happy with the penalties tonight here in the first half by Chapel Hill's Bulldogs.
No, I'm sure not, and that's a mental part of the game, and that's something that he's going to work with them on, I'm sure, and they're going to learn a lot about that this next week in practice.
And that foul must have taken place way downfield because it is a first down. Brisbane is back, looking to his right again, trying to find Kelly. Kelly gets one hand on it, but can't bring it in deep in the end zone.
I believe that was number 3, Aiden Lewis, on the coverage there. And that's what we like to see. That's the second time we've called his name with really good coverage tonight. So hopefully we'll see it a lot more.
And Kelly's just basically running a fly pattern, Bentley. He's just going straight down the field. And he's got such long strides, it's difficult for the defender to keep up. 2nd and 10. Ball spotted at the 33-yard line of Greenville. Hand off to Stewart. Lots of room, and up the middle. He breaks a tackle at the 15 and steps into the end zone for a Bulldog touchdown, unless there's another penalty, and there's not.
Yeah, I was looking for one, hoping there would be one, but it does not look like that one's going to be coming back.
So the Bulldogs put up 3 touchdowns here in the first quarter, 3:17 remaining. And if Campos tacks another one on here, they'll have a 21-0 lead over the Greenville Lions. Better defensive stand that time by the Lions, but great blocking on that run up the middle by Stewart. Campos' kick is up and good. 21-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Serving the people of Greenville is what we do. At GEUS, community involvement, volunteering, giving back through sponsorships, and providing hometown service with world-class reliability are just a few of our priorities. Being a locally owned public power utility means we are your family, friends, and neighbors. Community involvement and giving is easy when you are serving your hometown. Nationally recognized reliability and service, owned by those we serve for over 130 years.
We back? Okay, we're back. Bob Muty and Baseball Bentley Love here at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. Greenville Lions got a challenge in front of them tonight, Bentley.
They do, and they're holding up all right so far. It's been a bit of a tough go of it for them, but there's still a lot of football left to play here.
And here's a kickoff by Campos. It's coming down at the 23-yard line where Washington fair catches. The Lions will start at the 25-yard line where they'll spot the ball. This team, I don't know how many yards Stewart has already, but Brisbane had a long touchdown run called back, and there have been other touchdown runs called back. But they're finding a lot of green in front of them and not many red jerseys to stop. Okay, Lions now start at their own 25, 1st and 10. Anthony Johnson quickly out to Isaiah Williams, and Isaiah can't get the blocker from his wide receiver buddy, and Darius Dean brings him down immediately.
Yeah, and it's not a horrible play call there, but the Bulldogs sure did get to him quick, so it's going to actually result in what looks to be a 2-yard loss there for the Lions and bring up 2nd down and 12 to go from their 23-yard line.
Lions may need to go back to the run game. Washington has had some success up the middle. Guys up front doing a nice job on the Bulldog defensive line. And indeed, Washington gets the handoff and breaks through the line of scrimmage. Good blocking at the point of attack. He picks up about 4 yards. It's going to bring up a 3rd, and we'll call it a long 5 yards to go.
Yeah, and it looked like number 12 for sure for the Bulldogs, Trevor Brooks, but it also looked like he might have gotten some help from number 50, Braylon Allen, and number 54, Jamari Davis on that tackle there.
Yeah, Brooks, one of the leading tacklers for the Bulldogs with 6 per game. 15 on the play clock for the Lions. Michelle moves to the left side. Dropping back is Johnson. Good protection this time. Now he scrambles, looks to throw short, and short arms it, can't get it to his receiver. That's Williams he was looking for. So it's going to be a 4th down for the Lions and 6 to go. So punt team comes back on the field. Edwin Garcia handles the punting. I think Ruben Enriquez is our deep snapper, or maybe Jonathan Sampson now over the ball. The Lions line up 3 guys in an interesting formation deep to block for Garcia. 1:39 remaining. High snap. Garcia gets it off, and it unfortunately goes straight up in the air against this wind. And that's going to be a short one off the foot of Edwin Garcia.
Yeah, and that ball got blown all the way over here to the cheerleaders were ducking and trying to get out of the way of it, but luckily it didn't hit any of them. Bounced into the stands, but several of the fans were real quick to get it back to the Lions so play can continue. Unfortunately,
that for Garcia, that's only about a 7-yard kick. So in 2 punts tonight, he's averaging about 12.5 yards. Tough night kicking into a strong south wind. So the Bulldogs will take over at the 37-yard line of the Lions with 1:29 remaining. Demetrius Brisbane does, in fact, take the snap this time. Gets great protection, but there's a stoppage in play. And I'm looking for the reason. May not have been ready to play. Oh, no, there was a penalty way in the back. And it's against the Lions. So it's a 5 yards walk-off against Greenville. 1st and 5, Chapel Hill. Brisbane just looks like he could go to sleep back there. He's rolling to his right, throwing deep, and good defensive work down there by number 20 for the Lions.
Yeah, and that was number 6, Dylan Johnson, on the play there for the Bulldogs. But luckily, like Bob said, we had a good play by number 20, Jaden Gibson, on that one. So no touchdown pass on that one.
Lions line up in that 3-man defensive line. Right now, Valentine is out of the game, replaced by Streck. Going right, one of the backup running backs, and he slides down.
And Bob and I are here back live at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. But before we get this second quarter going, I've got a couple score updates for you around the district. Lake Dallas, who is not a district team, is beating Princeton, who is a district team, 46-0 with less than 3 minutes left to go in the second quarter.
And that's Demetrius Brisbane into the end zone, and the receiver goes up over the defender. That's Cameron Kelly. He did a heck of a job to get that one, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that was number 7, Reagan Goggins in coverage there. And, you know, he played pretty well, but he's only about 5'8", so he's about 10 inches shorter than the guy he was guarding.
Yeah, that makes it awful tough when you got a guy that big that you got to guard. He had good coverage and good position, but Cameron Kelly just too big and too long.
Yeah, and you know that's more in line with the punts we saw him doing before the game started. So having the wind at his back now when he's punting sure is going to help him out a lot and help him get some pretty good yardage on those punts.
Well, having been a punter when I was in high school, I can certainly sympathize with Garcia. They're going to spot the ball at the Bulldog 31-yard line. 9:38 remaining. The Lions trail 28-0 against a really, really good Chapel Hill Bulldog team. Skill positions are still juniors too, Bentley. That's the incredible thing about Brisbane and Stewart and Mayfield. Cameron Kelly in motion. He's got it around the left side. The big guy is still breaking tackles and leans forward, puts the ball out into Greenville territory for a first down.
Yeah, and that was number 20, Jaden Gibson, on the tackle there. And it was a big gain by the Bulldogs for sure, but it could have been a lot more if Gibson hadn't been there to stop him. So just a little friendly reminder for y'all. If you can't catch it on YouTube, you can tune in your car or in your radio at home, whichever, at KKVI 98.3 Friendly Radio, and catch this game live also.
This play's going around the right side. Once again, good yardage by the Bulldogs slot receiver.
Yeah, and that was number 8, Daniel Renner, on the play there, making the tackle for the Lions.
Braylon Dean picks up another first down for the Bulldogs, who are moving quickly down the field. First down at the Greenville 36-yard line. Brisbane hands to Stewart going around the left side, has lots of room to run, and he breaks a tackle at the 17-yard line and steps into the end zone. It's incredible how these guys have so much open territory to run around. Jeez.
Yeah, it is, and like we said, Bob, you know, it really truly does just come down to their linemen just flat out know how to throw a good block. And it's hard to do something against a team when they've got so many good linemen that are such good blockers.
And the Bulldogs are lined up for the PAT. They just don't have their holder in the game. Now somebody coming onto the field. Not in a big hurry. Play clock will probably expire, but that's actually the kicker. He's got plenty of leg, a 5-yard penalty, and they get it off. With 1 second remaining on the play clock, the Bulldog snapper got it back, and Aiden Campos converts. So the Bulldogs have 5 touchdowns and lead 35-0 against the Greenville Lions. Give us 30 seconds, and we'll be right back.
Careful use of our energy resources is a GEUS priority, and we know that saving money as well as energy is important to our customers. Did you know that you can save money year-round by making small changes to your thermostat? Save money and energy year-round by installing a programmable thermostat. Program a setting comfortable for your whole family while you're home. Program the thermostat while you are away 7 to 10 degrees or more cooler in the winter and warmer in the summer. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, you can save as much as 10% per year by doing this. Weather impacts our heating and cooling costs, causing our units to run more, especially during...
Okay, the kickoff bounds and then is covered by, I think that might have been Nathan Michelle, just outside the 30-yard line of the Lions. 7:58 remaining here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and you can see all the lines. They're huddled around Coach Jackson here on the right, pretty close to the sideline. I assume discussing over what they're going to do here, which is a little different. First time we've seen them go to the huddle is this game this season.
See Julian Sixtos now manning the left tackle spot. Xander Gonzalez at right tackle. Anthony Johnson and Greg Washington in the backfield. Hand off to Washington. He's quickly brought down by Brooks. That guy has just got some speed coming off the edge.
Yeah, and he's got to be the fastest person to get into that backfield so far this season that the Lions have faced.
It's a loss of 1. 2nd and 11. Johnson with good protection this time. Throws deep. And looked like Fifield might have been pushed in the back that time by Darius Dean, and I don't know why, because the pass was overthrown. It really wasn't catchable, but it looks like there's been a flag, and they may call pass interference against Dean.
Yeah, and to me, that just kind of looks a little bit like a discipline issue on that side of the ball, because you'd originally think maybe frustration, but those boys don't have much to be frustrated about right now.
I think that's a good point. The fact that they've had so many penalties, it seems to indicate that they are not a disciplined team. They're clearly talented, lots of athletes down there, but discipline-wise, that may be yet another penalty against the Bulldogs as their whole defensive line jumped.
Yeah, and I was watching the Lions-Chiefs game last night, and the ref called false start on everybody but the center on the Lions at one point, so looks like that's going to be offsides on everybody of the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that was an upset last night in Kansas City. All right, 1st and 5 now for Greenville. Big Anthony Johnson walks up to the line of scrimmage, calls the play, drops back, hands to Washington. He's loose up the middle, down to the 30, the 25. Greg Washington with a quick hitter up the middle gives the Lions a first down at the 25-yard line of the Bulldogs. Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Washington gets it once again, meets a little more resistance this time, but does get positive yardage.
Yeah, and a big run like that is pretty big for the Lions right now because they haven't been able to get much going at all. So to have something like that, that's a pretty good bright spot for them.
2nd and 8. Once again, this time the penalty might go against the Lions for illegal procedure. That's a heck of a thing to happen when you got a little momentum, get a little... Somebody just got a little bit antsy in the up-tempo offense and jumped the gun. So that's going to cost the Lions 5. We'll call it 2nd and 13 for Greenville with 5:59 remaining here in the first half. Tight formation, single receivers split wide. Johnson with good protection. Tries to find Payton on a comebacker, but he can't hook up with him.
Yeah, and it looked to me like on that play, it was just simply the ball slipped out of his hand, and it was just a little wide for Payton, but some potential to have a good connection on that play for sure. So we'll see what they do here. Is it's going to be 3rd down with 12 to go from their own or from the Bulldogs' 28-yard line.
Caleb Hale now in the ball game. He's in the slot on the far side with Dadrian Payton. Michelle and Williams split left. Johnson takes a snap. He looks for Williams and overshoots him at the 24-yard line. 4th down now for the Lions. They'll probably go for it. I don't think Nick Just has the leg to try a field goal of this length.
No, and they're a little too far over in there to punt, and I don't think I'd want to punt in this situation if I were the Lions.
No, you got to be aggressive here. 4th and 13. Anthony Johnson hoping to be able to hook up with somebody or find a way to move the chains and keep the Lion drive alive. Drops straight back under a lot of pressure. And it looked like Trevor Brooks once again might have been the guy. I'll tell you, number 12 in white has been all over the field, and that time he got a little help from number 9, Davion Ross, who is the leading tackler for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and number 12, Trevor Brooks, we've called his name several times tonight, and he's just a junior, so he's going to be tormenting QBs all over their district this season for sure, but also next season most likely. So it's going to be interesting to see what that boy turns into.
For a guy to be playing defense, I got to believe he's on the sprint relay team.
I think so, and if not, he might need to try it out.
Okay, so that's going to be a turnover on downs by the Lions, although the offense is still on the field, so there is something going on that we don't know about up here in the press box. Both teams are huddle on their sidelines. There's 4:43 remaining here in the first half. The Lions trail by 35 points, and apparently there's been another penalty, Bentley, against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and, like we said, I really do think at this point it's got to be a discipline thing because, it's played to the Lions' advantage for sure, but it looks like it's going to be a penalty, I guess, on the Bulldogs, but it's going to be the Bulldogs' ball here, so as the Lion defense trots out onto the field.
Okay, we'll see if Brisbane is still engineering the offense. He hands to Reardon on a sweep going left. Reardon dodging players and a good tackle on the far side. That might have been Yost over there. Only a gain of 2 for Jonah Reardon. Pretty good tackle by Mr. Yost.
Yeah, it really was, and that's good to see because they missed him in their first 2 games, so he's doing nothing but adding to that defense now that he's back.
2nd and 8. Fake the handoff to Stewart. Brisbane now. Demetrius looking downfield. Finally finds a man short. It is complete, I believe, to Reardon maybe, for a short pickup. Going to be 3rd and about 1.5 yards for Chapel Hill.
It looked like number 8, Daniel Renner, on the tackle there, and he came up limping a little bit, but now he appears to be fine, so hopefully it's nothing too serious at all.
2 receivers either side for Chapel Hill. Fakes the handoff. Here comes Brisbane around the right side. He's got a lot of room to run. He's at the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, and he's caught from behind. Beautiful, aggressive play defensively that time. We'll try to get the number. That Aiden Lewis who ran down Brisbane.
I think it was 8, Daniel Renner there, and he's hopping on one leg a little bit, but I kind of can't help but wonder if that initial limp after that play a while ago might have been a little bit to bait him. Because
I think
he chased him down no problem.
Yeah,
on that play.
I think Brisbane thought he had a touchdown, and Renner said, "No, sir." Great hustle by Daniel Renner. 1st and 10 inside the 10-yard line of the Lions. And Stewart is tackled, but he's into the end zone, I think, for a touchdown.
Yeah,
Maybe that's Brisbane.
It looks like they're going to call him short just at about the 1 yard line, or maybe even inside the 1.
Actually, that might have been number 0, Javen Mayfield, on the carry that time. Mayfield's a wide receiver, but they get their wide receivers involved on these jet sweeps. And Mayfield got it down to the 1 yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. Brisbane's going to throw for it. And I think Kelly went up and got that one.
No, it looks like he dropped it after. It looked like he initially caught it, but didn't maintain possession long enough for it to count for a touchdown. So, no doubt we're seeing the Lions put up a bit of a fight here after giving up that long run. It's going to be 3rd down and 1 to go from the 1 yard line.
Yeah, good defensive strip that time by the defensive back for Greenville. Trips right now for Brisbane. He's by himself in the backfield, in motion, and into the end zone goes Quentin Greenlee, untouched once again.
Yeah, and, watching this game and calling it and everything, I would venture to say that it hasn't been much of a passing game for the Bulldogs by any means. It's been a lot of running, and not just their running backs, their wide receivers, too, running the ball.
It's just incredible to me how open the field seems to be when the running back or the wide receiver gets the ball. Campos's kick is up and good, so he's got 6 consecutive PATs. 42-0, the Chapel Hill Bulldogs over the Lions. We'll take 30 seconds until the next kickoff.
Serving the people of Greenville is what we do. At GEUS, community involvement, volunteering, giving back through sponsorships, and providing hometown service with world-class reliability are just a few of our priorities. Being a locally owned public power utility means
and
we
have
are
the kickoff here, and it's fair caught by Nathan Michelle at about the 29-yard line of Greenville. Lions have 1 minute and 51 seconds left here in this first half to try to generate some offense. Been tough sledding on both sides of the ball for Greenville as they trail by 6 touchdowns here in the first half. Anthony Johnson's been under extreme pressure, unable to find his receivers for the most part, unlike he did last week against Liberty. So it's clearly a different level of talent on the opposite side of the ball tonight. Anthony Johnson, senior quarterback, hands to Washington, who sidesteps his own blocker and moves forward for about 3 yards.
Yeah, and, he did a whole lot of moving there to get to the line of scrimmage and got a few yards afterwards, but the Bulldogs it's been the story all night for them. They've just been meeting the lines, real quick. And when there's 4 guys that meet you, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah, 1 against 4 is not good odds. Quickly to the line of scrimmage are the Lions. Johnson hands to Washington again, and Trevor Brooks from his defensive linebacker position just in there before Washington has a chance to even do anything.
Yeah, no, really, and he really did just keep him from gaining, it looked like, any yardage on that play.
Third down, we'll call it 8 yards to go. 52 seconds remaining, the clock running. Seven 5A Division II football coming to you tonight on GEUS from T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. 35 seconds now as it's 3rd down and 8 for Anthony Johnson. He's looking deep, and he overshoots everybody. Ball lands at the 20-yard line, so Johnson really airmailed that one, but his intended receiver wasn't within 5 yards of getting that one. That might have been Williams on the deep throw.
Yeah, and that really does just show how big of an arm Johnson really does have. But as we're getting ready for the punt here, just another friendly reminder for y'all. You can also tune in to KKVI 98.3 Friendly Radio to catch our broadcast and listen to us talk about these boys play some football tonight.
Sorry about the noise in the background. Edwin Garcia gets this punt off. It's a really good one this time. And it's bounds at about the 19-yard line and goes out of bounds with 15 seconds remaining. The Bulldogs, I'm hoping and guessing, will take a knee.
Yeah, I got to say, we're talking about maybe a little bit of discipline problem on that team, but it would be kind of disrespectful if they ran a big play here because they don't need to score another one before half.
I don't think they do.
They're in pretty firm control, so I imagine we'll see him come out and just take a knee here, but we won't know for sure till about 4 or 5 seconds from now.
The thing about the Lions sideline is everybody is still upbeat because they knew coming in that they were facing a heck of a team. So here's a backup quarterback in the game now. And sure enough, he's throwing the ball deep. And it's Cameron Kelly on the reception. Nice throw by the backup QB. I'll try to get his number and identify him. Where's number 13? His name is Connor Griffin. He's a senior, so he's an upperclassman, but playing second fiddle to Demetrius Brisbane Jr. Probably more of a passer than a runner. First down now. He's in a little bit of trouble, and Griffin goes down under pressure. Could be that the Bulldogs have their second team in there. What do you think, Bentley?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And that looked like number 18, Jamarian Hamilton, who we typically see make plays down the field. He got through that line and jumped all over that boy and for a big sack for the Lions on that play. So.
Good way to end the first half for Greenville. They trail at halftime by a score of 42-0 to a really, 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 really good Division 4A football team, the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. We're going to take 2 minutes to take a break and try to get David Claiborne to come and give us some statistics from this game, which are obviously heavily in favor of the Bulldogs. We'll be right back.
Greenville became the first municipally owned public power electric utility in Texas in 1891, when privately owned companies were only interested in serving large cities such as Dallas and Fort Worth. Greenville citizens took destiny into their own hands and began producing their own power. Today, more than 130 years later, GEUS continues to provide this vital service to our community. Public power has a long history nationwide of supplying electricity to communities when investor-owned utilities wouldn't or couldn't provide this crucial service. The nation's 2,000-plus community-owned utilities currently supply power to millions of people in 49 states and 5 U.S. territories. The communities range in size from being very small to the largest public power system, which is owned by citizens of Los Angeles, California. San Antonio is the second largest city in the U.S. receiving public power. Municipally owned, public power utilities answer directly to their customers. Decisions are made locally by citizens of the community. Because public power utilities are owned by their communities and are not motivated by profits, rates are typically lower than investor-owned utilities and reliability is higher. Public power utilities value providing local customer services such as local offices with pay centers. GEUS is a public power utility. That means your utility is community-owned and not-for-profit. GEUS is proud to be your local public power utility.
Careful use of our energy resources is a GEUS priority, and we know that saving money as well as energy is important to our customers. Did you know that you can save money year-round by making small changes to your thermostat? Save money and energy year-round by installing a programmable thermostat. Program a setting comfortable for your whole family while you're home. Program the thermostat while you are away 7 to 10 degrees or more cooler in the winter and warmer in the summer. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, you can save as much as 10% per year by doing this. Weather impacts our heating and cooling costs, causing our units to run more, especially during extreme temperatures. Adjust your thermostat just 4 degrees from your normal settings during extreme temperatures to conserve energy and save on your utility bill. Consider energy efficiency updates to your home to help improve comfort and savings. Improvements like sealing cracks around doors and windows and upgrading attic insulation keeps your cooling or heating in when you need it. GEUS customer service is ready to serve and assist you any way we can. Call 903-457-2800 or visit our website at www.geus.org.
For 110 yards.
Yeah,
Well, they
clearly.
got called for holding how many times?
Yeah,
5 or 6?
Yeah, they've been shooting themselves in the foot, but unfortunately for Greenville, they got lots of feet.
Well, I thought the Lions played pretty good pass defense, and they were right on there in the direction and on the man when the Chapel Hill receiver made a pretty good catch.
Yeah.
They're not, these receivers are not wide open. It's not blown coverage. You just got to give credit to Chapel Hill. They're very athletic.
Yeah, they're giving away a lot of inches to Cameron Kelly when they throw to him for sure. Well, how's Stewart doing tonight? Stewart
I
in
got
Brisbane.
Ricky Stewart 6 carries, 161 yards.
Okay.
Touchdown runs of 71, 14, 32, and 36. You saw one time he lined up at quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, they switch those guys. They want
Brisbane.
Brisbane. I haven't called his name enough. They want those two guys to get the ball, and they're going to move them around.
Yeah.
But I don't know we're going to see much of them in the second half.
Does Brisbane have a bunch of yards too?
Brisbane, he has, surprisingly, he has 80 yards on 3 carries.
Yeah.
He would have scored if it wasn't for Mr. Renner.
Yeah.
And I got him passing. He's thrown for 51 yards. They've thrown for 86 yards. They got one completion there at the end in the first half. The Lions' pass defense has done all right. They've given up a 300 yards, 301 rushing yards.
Yeah. Okay.
The war in the trenches, Chapel Hill's winning those. I got the Lions with only 48 total yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they'll do a running clock in the second half?
I don't know, but, you know, Coach Jackson likes to run plays off rather quickly. Maybe they need to run them off a little slower.
Yeah.
You know, and he showed Chapel Hill a lot of respect. What were they at the 43-yard line, and they punted instead of going for it on 4th down?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I called that as well.
He knows what kind of team he's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, number 2, they're supposed to go to the finals. And, you know, if they can iron out some of those mistakes they're making, this is a very, very good football team.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, but Bentley was talking about the discipline issues with this Bulldog team, and if they don't clean up the penalty situation, that's going to
That
hurt
can
them
hurt you in the
playoffs.
playoff games.
Yeah.
If it's close.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think the officials were calling. They were calling what they saw, and they saw holding. It seemed like every other play.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not much to talk about here, David, from the Lions' perspective. So we'll take a 20-minute or a 2-minute break, and let David get back to work, get something to eat, something to drink, and we'll be back to watch the Greenville Lion Pride Band when we return after this message from GEUS. Thank you, David.
Careful use of our energy resources is a GEUS priority, and we know that saving money as well as energy is important to our customers. Did you know that you can save money year-round by making small changes to your thermostat? Save money and energy year-round by installing a programmable thermostat. Program a setting comfortable for your whole family while you're home. Program the thermostat while you are away 7 to 10 degrees or more cooler in the winter and warmer in the summer. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, you can save as much as 10% per year by doing this. Weather impacts our heating and cooling costs, causing our units to run more, especially during extreme temperatures. Adjust your thermostat just 4 degrees from your normal settings during extreme temperatures to conserve energy and save on your utility bill. Consider energy efficiency updates to your home to help improve comfort and savings. Improvements like sealing cracks around doors and windows and upgrading attic insulation keeps your cooling or heating in when you need it. GEUS customer service is ready to serve and assist you any way we can. Call 903-457-2800 or visit our website at www.geus.org.
All right, Bob Mutey and Bentley Love back here in T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium at halftime. Looking around the area tonight, I alluded to a game between the Roy City Bulldogs and Melissa Cardinals up in Melissa. Melissa, of course, is in our district, and they're ranked number 1 in the state, as we said earlier. But Roy City is 2-0, and they've had an excellent start to their game season. So, and early on in that game, I think, Bentley, you said the score was 0-0.
Yeah, Bob, and currently, I guess there's not anybody keeping up with the score on there for Max Preps because it still shows that they're in the first quarter and 0-0 right now.
Well, we know that's not the case. But we'll be playing the Melissa Cardinals later on in this season at their new stadium. So both Bentley and I are looking forward to calling that game from over there. Another really good team in this area is the Caddo Mills team, which had their game abruptly ended last week when several of their players had to be airlifted from the field. But they're playing the Canton Eagles tonight. Canton's 1-1 on the season, and generally a pretty good football club. But Caddo Mills looking to make the playoffs again in their district.
Yeah, well, and Bob, currently right now, Caddo Mills is actually down 21-20 to Canton at halftime. So pretty interesting because, yeah, they're two good teams, but that Caddo Mills team, if I remember correctly, they went undefeated last year.
They've had a good program for several years, and that game is being played in Canton. So the Eagles right now with a 1-point advantage. Howell Bulldogs are playing at Commerce tonight. Howell is 1-1. Commerce is 2-0 for the season. Their last year, Commerce beat Howell 59-2. The Wolf City Wolves and the Celeste Blue Devils, both off to a really good start this year with records of 2-0, and they're playing against one another tonight in Celeste. We'll see if we can get a score on that game.
Yeah, and right now, Wolf City is up 14-7 on the Blue Devils with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. So that game's only about a minute underway into halftime.
The Quinlan Ford Panthers, who I got a chance to watch play last Friday night, are at Bullard tonight against another group of Panthers. Quinlan is 1-1, having beaten Godley last week, 44-39. Bullard is 2-0, and they beat Caddo Mills in that abbreviated game last week.
Yeah, and Bullard is leading Quinlan Ford right now, 29-16 in the third quarter. So those Bullard boys are for real down there, maybe.
I'll tell you what, if they could handle Caddo Mills, they're probably going to be able to handle the Quinlan Panthers because Caddo is favored to finish much higher in the district than is Quinlan Ford. The Bulls Hornets are down in Hawkins to play the Hawks. The Hornets are 1-1. Hawkins is winless this year, having lost last week to James Bowie. Any score on that one, Bentley?
No, unfortunately not. There's nobody keeping track of that one for Max Preps.
Okay, we got a couple 6-man games being played this weekend. Denton Calvary is at Fannondale. Fruitvale is at Campbell, and the Greenville Christian Eagles travel over to Carlton Prince Peace to take on the Eagles of that squad. But we're about ready to get the third quarter underway here at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. The Lions will be receiving, having kicked off in the first half of action, and we've got Caleb Hale, and I'm not sure who the receiver on the far side is, but Hale's here on the left side. Let's see if the kick is a short one. It's going to bounce and taken at the 6-yard line by Peyton. Peyton's got some room at the 20. He's up to the 25. He's got some 30, 35. He's across the 40-yard line. Dadrian Peyton with a nice return for the Lions.
Yeah, and that's a big play there for the Lions to come out of the locker room for the second half. And, you know, that's definitely a momentum builder for him, and because that looked to be about a 34-yard return, and so that's pretty dang good for those boys.
And one of the Bulldogs player is injured here on the near sideline. The trainer has come all the way across the field to take a look, and now the Greenville trainers are assisting. Looks like a lower leg injury of some sort. We'll take a 30-second break and be back with the resumption of play. All right, we're back here at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium. The injured player is on his feet, but doesn't look to be motoring too well. He's going to get some help from a couple of the staff, get him across the field. It's like a lower leg injury. Might be number 32, and that is indeed the kicker, Aiden Campos. And he was filling in tonight for the injured Alvaro Mendez, so that may be a tough blow for the Bulldogs to swallow if both of their kickers are going to be out for a good part of the season.
Yeah, and hopefully they've got somebody back there behind them that can handle the kicking duties for tonight. But we'll hope that it's nothing too serious for either one of these boys, and they'll both be good to go next week. If not next week, at least hopefully one of them is, and the other one will be fine, hopefully, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we saw Mendez on crutches before the game, and Campos doesn't appear to be motoring very well. He's having to get help as he limps to the sidelines on the far side. 11:50 now as the second half has just started. The Lions will be taking over after a nice return by Peyton at their own 42-yard line.
Yeah, and while we await the resumption of play here, just another friendly reminder for y'all that y'all can also catch this game on KKVI 98.3 Friendly Radio. So if y'all can't tune in on Juice for some reason, feel free to listen over there.
Strong left for the Lions. Handoff. No, it's a fake handoff to Washington, who was hammered. Johnson, it's a good thing Anthony Johnson pulled that one out of the stomach of Anthony or Greg Washington. Johnson picks up about 2 yards around the left side. Boy, the Bulldogs were in there again on Washington. Was that Brooks again?
I think it was.
This time, handoff does go to Washington, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that'll be number 12 again. He's having a field day. I don't know who's supposed to be blocking him, but there's nobody blocking him.
Yeah, you're right. He is, and I really don't know either, but they need to maybe stick 2 guys on him this next play.
He is he's amazing. He's coming from he's a defensive back, and now we have a completed pass. Johnson to Jet Fifield, close to first down yardage, and they're going to give it to him. Nice throw by Anthony Johnson. Good reception by senior Fifield, who's split out to the right. 2 receivers to the left. Caleb Hale in the slot. Peyton way left. Johnson takes a snap. No, he decides to burn a little bit more clock, which is probably not a bad idea, Bentley.
No, considering the score, they need to try and burn as much clock as they can, but get some good reps in here too, hopefully.
Johnson hands to Washington, and Washington runs directly into Brooks and Jamari Davis. And Coach Jackson's going to call a timeout. I think maybe he's got to be concerned about number one, Brooks getting in unblocked, but that time Davis was there as well.
Yeah, and that's really been the story of it. I mean, these, really just the defensive players in general. I started to say the front defensive guys, but really it's been all of them are just so incredibly skilled that it's, I don't want to say impossible, but it's pretty dang hard to stop them. And if they had 2 guys that were just top of the line, you could stop those, but the whole team's top of the line.
Yeah, well, it could be that, too, that they're using multiple defensive sets and doing different things with their defensive line, and it's confusing the O-line of the Lions. Whatever the situation, it's second down and 10 yards to go, right at midfield. Johnson looking downfield, can't find a man, just throws it onto the track wisely.
Yeah, it was a good call getting rid of it there, because if he'd gone down for a loss there, he would have really lost a lot of yardage, and it would have gone from 3rd and 12 to probably about 3rd and 22.
And that was Davis once again with the pressure. Davis is a big old guy. We don't have the sizes and heights of the Bulldog players like we do the Greenville roster. Johnson now, good throw off the hands of Peyton. That was a catchable ball at the 40-yard line. and right through the hands of Dadrian Payton.
Well, and so it looks like the Lions are going to trot out the punting team there. So looks like it's going to be Edwin Garcia back to punt again, and he's back to kicking into the wind like he was in the first quarter. So hopefully he'll fare a little bit better than he did on a couple of those punts this time around.
4th down at the 50-yard line. High snap. Garcia gets the kickoff. It goes out of bounds. Kind of off the side of his foot, so I'm sure Edwin's not happy with that effort. Be another short punt. We'll see where they're going to spot that one.
No, and like you said, I'm sure Garcia's not too happy with that one, but he can't let it stay in his head too long because not only is he punting for him right now, he's also a linebacker for the Lions. So he's got to clear that play out of his mind and try and make a play here on the ball.
And he's not a particularly big guy either. We got him listed at 5'9", 180 pounds. He is a senior. Okay, looks like we got Connor Griffin in at the quarterback spot. He hands off on the jet sweep. That's Quentin Greenlee, who's brought down after a short gain. So Coach Reardon has called off the Dogs, Bentley.
Yeah, he has, and I think that's got to be expected with a score like this starting in the second half. So
second, we'll call it 8 for Chapel Hill. Griffin finds Kelly on the right side, and Kelly's got a first down. Good throw by the senior quarterback. First down, Bulldogs. Chains move right at midfield. I guess we'll give Garcia about a 10-yard punt on that effort. Griffin this time hands to Greenlee. Actually, that's not Greenlee. That's Jabo Cook. And Jabo fumbles the ball into the end zone. If that went out of the end zone, that should be a touchback. Let's see what the call is. Cook had a touchdown, and he kind of reached out as he was being brought down by one of the defenders. And they're going to call him down at the 1-yard line. That's a nice break for the Bulldogs, a bad break for the Lions. Jabo Cook's the third leading rusher with 41 yards a gain coming into tonight's game. And here's Cameron Kelly on a wide receiver sweep. Walks into the end zone pretty easily for a Bulldog touchdown.
Yeah, well, and you know, the Bulldogs, they have some running backs, but they don't use them much, it doesn't seem like. They prefer to hand the ball off to a wide receiver and let them run it with that jet sweep. And I mean, I can't argue with it. The plays worked pretty well for them so far thus far in this game, but they don't use the running backs too much. It's interesting.
And the Bulldogs are going to have to go for 2. They're forced to because they don't have a kicker. So Griffin's in shotgun formation. He hands to Cook. Cook's running around the right side, and he squeezes through.
But it looks like there's a flag on the play, so we're going to see what that is. It looks like holding on the offense.
So another Bulldog penalty on this point-after attempt. 7:42 remaining in the game. Score currently stands at 48-0 in favor of Chapel Hill before this next 2-point attempt.
And that's going to move them all the way back to what appears to be the 14-yard line, maybe 13 and a half. So we'll see if it changes the outcome of this 2-point conversion attempt for them.
Connor Griffin rolling to his right, looking downfield, looking for Kelly. Kelly catches the ball. I'm not sure he was able to keep his feet in bounds. If he did, that was a NFL-type reception.
Yeah, and it looked like they signaled that he did, and so, I mean, yeah, Bob, you're right. That's an NFL-level toe tap there in the end zone for him, and, I mean, obviously the referees have a better view of it than we do up here, but from here, it didn't quite look like he got him down, but he was right there, so I'm going to assume he made the right call, but that was quite the play by Kelly there.
It's a beautiful throw by Griffin. I mean, nobody except Kelly could have gotten it, and he got both feet down.
He did, and I mean, he got him down and drug him, and so, I mean, but yeah, no, it was a beautiful throw, and nobody could get to it like you said, but Kelly almost couldn't get to it, but it was just in enough room that he was able to snag it and tack on that 2 points, though. So you talked about a while ago how they have to go for 2 because they don't have a kicker, so it's going to be interesting to see who kicks for them right here, and it looks like it's going to be number 12, Trevor Brooks. So I guess that guy can just really do it all.
I'll tell you what, he could play defense for me. Wow, is he quick? And he's got a ton of tackles tonight. He came into the game's third leading tackler with 6 a game, and I bet he's got at least 15. And he gets a pretty decent kickoff. Comes down to about the 23-yard line where it's fair caught by Noah Davenport. So the Lions will take over at their own 25, which is the spot on a fair catch of a kickoff. Again, we feel like Coach Jeff Reardon from Chapel Hill, now with a 50-point lead, has got his reserves in the game. I don't see Brooks. I don't see Allen. I don't see Davion Ross on the field, so I think those guys got the rest of the night off. Well, let's see what the Lions can do offensively. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Hand off to Washington. Still not much going up front. Tell you what, even the younger Bulldogs are pretty aggressive.
Yeah, well, and that just shows you how good and how deep of a team this is. I mean, even when the reserves are in, they're still playing aggressive. So, I mean, that's a good thing for the Chapel Hill team is hopefully they'll be good. Hopefully for them, they'll be good for several years to come.
Well, with that junior quarterback and junior running back, they're pretty good for next year as long as those guys stay healthy.
Yeah.
6:10 remaining in the clock running. The Lions are faced with a 2nd and long. We'll call it 8.5. Ball just outside their own 25-yard line. Fake handoff to Washington. There goes Anthony Johnson. He's loose at the 50. He's down to the 40. He's been pursued, and he's forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line of the Chapel Hill Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that was a big breakaway for Johnson, and we've seen a couple big breakaways for the Lions so far, but that might be the furthest one, and puts them in pretty good field position as they're going to spot that ball. It looks like at the 26, or 28, excuse me.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage, Greg Washington gets the handoff, and he gets a couple yards straight up the middle. Guys up front for the Greenville Lions have had opportunities or had times when they've opened a nice hole for Washington, but that time just a short 2 yards for the senior running back. I think Anthony Johnson's run might have been the longest rush from scrimmage this season for the Lions. Johnson now up over center, now backs off to the shotgun formation. 2 receivers each side. He takes a snap, drops straight back, has some time, throws low this time. Ball kind of slipped out of his hands, intending for a 5-field.
Yeah, and on a play like that, there really isn't much you can do other than shake it off and go on to the next one because, like you said, I mean, that ball just purely slipped out of his hand. Nothing really truly went wrong that could be controlled.
3rd and 8 for the Lions. In Bulldog territory. Johnson once again keeps, and he's got room. He's going to score. Anthony Johnson into the end zone for a Greenville touchdown. Finally, something for the fans here on the home side to cheer about as the big guy steps off about 20-some yards, wasn't it, Bentley?
Yeah, right around there, and so that's a good confidence booster, I guess you could say, for these boys. If nothing else, it's good for him to finally get one up there.
So Nick Just is going to get a chance to get his first conversion of the night out of the hold of Jet Fifield. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is up, and it's good. Lions strike here early in the second half. They trail 50-7. We'll be right back. Bob Muty and Bentley Love, baseball Bentley Love, back here at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium on a beautiful night for football. The weather kind of turned a little bit, and the temperatures cooled off, and the only problem is the Lions can't cool off the Chapel Hill Bulldogs.
Yeah, and maybe they'll cool them off a little bit after that touchdown run by Johnson, but hasn't worked thus far.
Here's a kickoff by Reagan Goggins. It's a good kick. Goggins get good foot in it. It's going to be fair caught at the 22-yard line. And the Chapel Hill Bulldogs will start their drive at the 25-yard line. Under the direction here in the second half of senior quarterback Connor Griffin, who's replacing a really talented Demetrius Brisbane Jr. Guy can really play. Got a heck of an arm. He wasn't real accurate in the first half, but he can definitely whistle that ball.
Yeah, but to be honest, it didn't really matter all that much that he wasn't that accurate, because he would just hand it off to a receiver and they'd take off running, or he'd run it himself for a big gain.
Looks like Kelly now is out of the game. He's being replaced by another guy who's pretty tall here on the left side. Here's a handoff, and that's probably Greenlee on the carry, and Greenlee gets about 5 or 6 yards. Lions defensively in that three-man front. Khalil Parker, looks like Tommy Stretch, and is that Cody Waldrop on the far side?
I believe it is.
Griffin has Greenlee in the backfield with him. Hands it to Greenlee. Greenlee's got lots of room. Straight up the middle. He's loose. He's on the near sideline. He's down to the 40, the 30, the 20. He's pushed out of bounds by Renner or Aiden Lewis.
I believe that was number 3, Aiden Lewis there. So big run for sure by Greenlee, but Aiden Lewis sure did take off after him and was able to catch up, so that's a good sign for the Lions.
Yeah, Lewis wears number 3, Renner wears number 8, and my old eyes just can't differentiate between the two.
Well, and they're both always making plays, so it's hard to know which one you're calling.
1st and 10. Going around the right end and picking up a few yards is number 17, Jalen Smith. They just the chain gang never even moved.
No, they didn't. They didn't have a chance to, but it looks like there's a flag on the play, so see what happens here.
Yet another penalty. They Bulldogs chalked up what David said, 111 yards in penalties the first half. They've already had at least 2 here in the second half, this being the second one. So the Bulldogs are getting real good about turning and walking back up the field, but then they promptly run down the other way for a touchdown.
Go ahead and put it in anyway.
Yeah, it's hard to stop this group. They are they're just flat talented and deep, like you said, Bentley. Griffin takes a snap, finds his man, and the man has very little resistance and works his way into the end zone.
Yeah, and that appeared to be number 15, Blaylock, a sophomore wide receiver for the Bulldogs there, that caught that pass and forced his way into the end zone.
Looks like the Lions might be playing in a zone defense, and Blaylock was right in the seam of that zone, and when he caught that ball at about the 7-yard line, he had about 5 yards of open space before a couple of guys in red shirts slowed him down. Here's Griffin with a 2-point attempt, and another stoppage of play. I think the referees are having fun tonight throwing their flags.
I think they are too, and you know, they just want to be a part of the game too. But
I think they want to be on television.
I think they do also.
Matthew, are you getting those guys on television? All right, here's Griffin. He's found a man open in the end zone, but he overshoots him. He was under pressure, and he's helped up off the field. Incomplete, so the 2-point conversion for the first time. The Bulldogs are unsuccessful at something, so the score remains Chapel Hill Bulldogs 56, Greenville Lions 7. 45 seconds remaining here in the third period. give us 30 seconds to get a drink of water, Matthew. All right, Bob Muty and Bentley Love back here at T.A. Cotton Ford Stadium, bringing you all the action from this 7A Division II football game between 4A Division I Chapel Hill Bulldogs and the 7-5A Greenville Lions. Lions come into this game at 1-1, having beaten Liberty from Frisco 35-2 last week over at Toyota Stadium. Bentley and I definitely enjoyed that one. Here's the kickoff by Brooks, and it goes into the end zone, so that'll be brought out to the 25-yard line where the Lions will start.
Yeah, and that's been the story of their game so far for starting offensive drives pretty much. It either bounces in the end zone or gets fair caught most of the time, and they're getting pretty used to starting at the 25. They had that one run back that was pretty good, but for the most part, that's been their starting point so far. So looking at Max Preps here, we've got a few scores for you. Terrell is leading Kaufman right now, 21-14. So game's a little bit closer than I expected at least. Kaufman being 0-2 and Terrell being 2-0, but Kaufman's holding on pretty well so far.
And we're having mic problems with Bentley's mic once again. So Matthew's checking that out. That's the end of the third quarter, so it's a good opportunity to take a short break while Matthew works on that microphone. We'll be right back. All right, back here, here's the Lions first down. Ball is fumbled on the handoff from Johnson to, I think that's probably still Greg Washington in the game. Looks like the Lions may have recovered. So that's a break. And that might have been Adrian Hawkins on the carry there. He just never got the handle. There's Johnson on the keeper. And Johnson bulls his way down for about a 9-yard gain. So yeah. Hawkins had a chance there, Bentley, to get some action and lost the handle and came out of the game immediately. So it's a shame for the junior running back, who I met this morning, by the way, at the Lion Dad meeting. They gave Johnson the first down.
We'll take it.
Absolutely. 11 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. 56-7, the Lions trail. Ball spotted at the 35-yard line at Greenville. Johnson looking, throws low, looking for, I think, Isaiah Williams. Johnson he's had so much pressure tonight. Didn't have a lot of pressure that time, but I think overall it's in his head that he's got to get rid of the ball quickly, and consequently he's been off target several times tonight. 2nd and 10. Handoff this time. That's Washington, and Washington bulls his way forward for about a 6-yard pickup.
Yeah, and like you said a while ago about Johnson being a little off target, like you said, yeah, whenever it comes to having to make that decision that quick, it's hard to make that quick decision.
Strong left with Michelle. Fakes to Washington. Here goes Johnson. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He gets thrown down at the 11-yard line. Nice defensive play and touchdown saving play by Jalen Smith off Anthony Johnson. Anthony is big. and he's got long strides, but he's not super quick like some of these guys from Bulldog, but a great run for Johnson again. This time a handoff to Washington. Washington on 1st and goal picks up about 5 yards.
Well, and to be honest with you, I think that might be part of what's made his runs work so well so far when he's done them is he's not as fast as some of these other guys the Lions have, but he's a lot harder to take down because he's a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, the guys on the chain gang, God bless them, are having a real problem tonight. They just can't keep up with the play. Here goes Greg Washington. He's met right at the line of scrimmage and manages to get about 2 yards before he's brought down by a couple of white-shirted defenders. Peyton Bonner, one of the Bulldogs, in on that tackle. It's going to be 3rd and 5. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown, but it's really, really close. Hand off to Washington. Washington trying to get to the end zone, but he just can't get there. It's going to be 4th down, about 1.5 yards for a first down, about 2 yards for a touchdown.
Well, and Bob, if you're the coach, are you going for it? It looks like the Lions are.
No question. Yeah, got to go for this one. And there is a procedure penalty, a very ill-timed procedure penalty against the Lions. It's going to make the first down achievement a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, but I still think it's doable.
No question about it, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Johnson fakes to Washington and keeps it himself. He's had more success with that play than any other one in this second half. Now he's going to throw. Ball is tipped and falls harmlessly in the end zone. So the Greenville drive ends in the shadow of the Bulldogs' end zone. So that's where the Chapel Hill Bulldogs will take over. 7:35 remaining in this one.
Yeah, and so the Bulldogs are going to get the ball to start this drive here in the 4th quarter on their own 7-yard line. So they're going to be pinned down kind of deep, not too deep, but a little bit back there. So hopefully the Lions will be able to provide some good pressure and make something happen. Just another friendly reminder for you, you can also listen to our broadcast tonight on KKVI 98.3 Friendly Radio.
First down for the Bulldogs. There's Greenlee. Greenlee's thrown down. There's a fumble, but I believe he's probably down by contact. Now the officials are saying that is a fumble, and the Greenville Lions will take over on the turnover. So a big break. This time the Lions get it right back. And there is somebody hurt on the one of the Lions at the 15-yard line.
It looks like number 20, Jaden Gibson. So the trainers are running out there to check on him. Hopefully he's going to be all right.
We'll have a report on Gibson's status when we come back after this 30-second break. Trainers are helping Jaden Gibson, the starting defensive back, sometimes linebacker. Junior appears to have a lower leg injury, and they're putting him right into the tent. So Let's hope he's going to be okay. 1st and 10 for the Lions after the turnover. Anthony Johnson hands to Washington. Washington, almost broke it. He was tripped up after a pickup of about 6 yards.
Good little run there. He would have had a lot if he hadn't gotten tripped up there, but nonetheless, a good play and a good start for the Lions, as it looks like he's going to gain about 5 yards there.
Yeah, we'll call it 2nd and 5. Once again, it's Washington. Picks up a couple. 6:11 remaining. Clock moving. Lions trying to put up a second touchdown. They trail 56-7 here on their home turf. 3rd and 4. Fakes to Washington. It's Johnson on the keeper. Keeper dragging Bulldogs to the 10-yard line for a first down.
Well, he drug 2 Bulldogs with him, and then a third one came in, and he drug him for a couple yards, and finally they were a little too much for him to take down, but not before he gained the first down for the Lions.
Anthony Johnson moves the chains. This time he hands to Washington. Washington is hammered right at the line of scrimmage. Big defensive play as somebody defeated a block.
Yeah, and that was number 66, Trey.
Yeah, Trey. Just Trey.
Yeah, just Trey.
Big Trey. We're not going to try to pronounce that last name, but he's clearly not a starter, but boy, he made a play there. He's a big old guy. 2nd and 10. Fake to Washington. It's Johnson again, and Johnson stepping into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown of the ball game.
And there we go, folks. That's it's got the Lions to 13 points. We're going to see if they can tack on a 14th here with the PAT. Assuming Justin's going to come out and kick it.
And the good downfield blocking that time by the wide receivers.
Yeah. Well, and I saw number 17, Jalen Smith for the Bulldogs, try and punch it out at the last second, but it really was too late. Johnson was already in the end zone, so it didn't matter much anyway.
Ruben Enriquez about to snap the ball to Jet Fifield. Fifield puts it down, just kicks it through the uprights. Greenville trails the visiting Chapel Hill Bulldogs 56-14 with a little over 4 minutes remaining as the cheerleaders do their gymnastic thing in the north end zone. Pretty impressive. Backflips and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's something we didn't see last year, if I remember correctly, but I think it's some new direction for the cheerleaders this year, kind of like new direction for the football team. So lots of changes going on here.
And we got the push-ups being executed right now by the junior ROTC. He's probably happy that it's only 14.
Well, and that's something we haven't talked about too much, but anytime the Lions score, they do however many push-ups are on the scoreboard. So those guys did a ton of push-ups last week for sure.
35 of them.
Well, they did more than that because they did 35, but the one before that they did 28.
Okay, Reagan Goggins has got it teed up at the 40-yard line for the Lions. And Coach Jackson is still in conversation with the officiating crew. He's bringing the team over. He calls a timeout, I guess.
Well, and I guess it could be my eyes playing tricks on me, but it looked like I saw some lightning over the indoor facility, or maybe a little bit more back over behind the softball field. So be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, if you did, Bentley, that'll be the end of this one.
Yeah,
it's pretty much been a moot point. Coach Jackson shaking hands with the officials now with Coach Reardon, and this ball game is going to be called because of weather. We don't want anybody to be hurt, fan or player or coach, struck by lightning. So with 3:12 technically remaining in the game, the teams are meeting each other at midfield, shaking hands. The Lions lose 56-14, and we'll move on to our district opener next Friday night in Denison.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good game. Those Those boys over there in Denison have played quite the game today. They're up 21-13 on Kennedale. So they'll be waiting for the Lions next weekend. But I think it'll be pretty good there. Kennedale's 0-2 on the season so far, and they're putting up a decent fight against Denison. So the Lions might have a chance next week.
Well, as we said earlier, Denison is state ranked at number 26. The Lions, before tonight, were ranked 61st. So we're ahead of Princeton and Poteet, but well behind Denison, which frankly doesn't mean a whole lot.
It really doesn't. And, I mean, because you hear about upsets all the time. Now, this team that the Lions played tonight, these boys are perennial, like you said, perennial state championship contenders. So these boys are on a whole nother level. But a team like Denison, I do feel like is a winnable game for the Lions. And now, I mean, it is going to be a home game for Denison, but we saw the Lions beat up on Liberty last week in a home game for Liberty, so it can be done.
Yeah. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back to wrap this one up and talk about that game next week against Denison after this word from GEUS. Hey, we're back. Bob Muty here. Baseball Bentley Love right next to me. Matthew Middleton at the controls. This was a tough one to call. When you got a powerhouse like the Bulldogs coming into town, you know that it's you're not gonna put up a W, Bentley, and clearly from the get-go, this team just had too much firepower, too much talent for the Greenville Lions team. But the Lions team got better in a lot of categories, and one of them, I think, was Anthony Johnson running the football.
Well, I'll agree with you. And another place that the Lions have improved is, I don't know if y'all remember this from week one, and I remember we had a little bit of broadcasting trouble week one, so you might not have even seen it, but there was some frustration in the Lions. They got beat pretty bad week one. But you saw some visible frustration from the Lions, and even a little bit of a scuffle that broke out. But we didn't see any of that tonight, and that's something that you can look at this game, and that's something good you can take away from this. Because when you play a team that's as good as the Bulldogs, it's real easy to get frustrated, get irritated, and let your emotions get the best of you. But the Lions didn't do that tonight. They kept their composure. They played the best they could. But they didn't get overly irritated, and I think that's key, and that shows that right there shows that Jackson's making a difference, nonetheless.
I think you're spot on, because the Lions did not quit tonight at all, and they're not going to quit, regardless of any score that they might face the rest of this season against teams like Melissa and Lovejoy. It's going to be difficult again against teams like that. I mean, when they're ranked 1 and 3 in the state, you're probably not going to compete with those guys on an even basis. However, they're not going to quit, and they're going to get better. They got better tonight, even though they got beat by 42 points?
Yeah, something like that. But, they lost by 42 tonight, but it's improvement from last season. Last season they got beat by 47. So it's small, but in a game like this, you've got to try and pick out any little good thing you can find. And there's some people who say they don't ever lose, they just learn. And I think that's what the Lions should really try and take away from this is, on paper it's a loss, but it's really a learning experience.
Yeah, no question about it. I think Coach Jackson's got the proper mindset. He's got these kids believing that they can compete. And we'll see next week as we travel to Denison, Texas to take on the Yellow Jackets. who are leading currently over Kennendale late in the game.
Yeah, so that score for the Denison game right now, Denison's up 21-13 on Kennedale. So Kennedale's 0-2 on the year. So if they can do this good, the Lions should have a decent shot against Denison. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but they should definitely be in the running in that game. I really don't foresee that game being like this one was.
I really think Coach Jackson and his staff feel like they have a chance to win that game next week. So it's not just you and me talking about that possibility. I think the kids down here on the Greenville sideline wearing the red jerseys with the red helmets and the black pants believe that they can win that district opener next week. But we'll be in Denison ready to make the call for you next Friday night. Game time is at 7:30.
Yeah, so we'll be live at 7:30 p.m. September 15th in Denison, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of a different outcome.
Well, we're going to find out. But for Matthew Middleton and Bentley Love, I'm Bob Muty saying good night, everybody, and God bless you.
This video has been brought to you by GEUS. GEUS is your community-owned provider for electric, internet, cable TV, and true local programming.